So it's now getting recorded, and our today's class is the second part of the Marxist literary criticism. So, how much we had done in the last class? Do you remember? We had read about Labriola, we have read about Mehring. Uh, I think we have read about Trotsky also. Did we? Did we read about Plekhanov? Yeah, we also read about Rosa Luxemburg, didn't we? Can anyone tell me, did we read about Rosa Luxemburg in the last class?
Yes, I think. Yes.
Yeah, so today we were going to start with Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. Okay, so I do not think anyone of you, at least at this stage, should not know the name of this person. I think every one of you know the name of this person, Vladimir Lenin. Okay, so he was born in Russia, and his tenure was 1870 to 1924. And it is said that Vladimir Lenin is the father of Russian communist movement. Okay, so now let us summarize what Lenin had done. I think you can see the screen also. Lenin occupied the central role in the revolution of 1917. In the Russian Revolution of 1917, Lenin had the central role to play. Had central role in the unfolding of Marxist aesthetics towards a major politically interventionist stance. So you can say, you can see this Marxist aesthetics, not only Marxist politics, not only Marxist philosophy, but also Marxist aesthetics towards a major politically inventionist stance. So interventionist stance. So uh, this term Marxist aesthetic is very different from Marxist economics. Marxist aesthetics is the application of Marxism in term of literature, in term of philosophy, and there he played a central role that in any kind of aesthetic work, in any kind of work of art, this will play a major role. Okay, this will play a major role that was confirmed by Lenin. Okay, for 1 minute I am unmuting myself. Sorry, muting myself. 1 minute just. Okay, so let us come to this. So the Marxist philosophy was no more a matter of economics only. Okay, now with the able hand of Lenin, he confirmed that in aesthetics, that is in different type of application of philosophy in literature, in drama, in performance, in art, everywhere, Marxism was involved. Work, the major work that Lenin is attributed is party organization and party literature. 1905. So, what is party organization? Lenin said how the Communist Party should be formed. Okay, how the Communist Party should be formed was guided by Lenin, and this man also ultimately made a structure of the Communist Party in Russia. And you know what party literature is. ভোটের সময়, you know that during election they give you book, and when you take membership they give you several books regarding party's agenda, party's what the party want, what are the mottos, what are the structure of the organization. So all these are called party literature. So these were all done by Lenin himself. Free speech and free press need to exist. A very interesting thing is that, in spite of being a Marxist state, Lenin shouted for free speech and free press. That is very interesting because, it happens in any communist regime that latter the party is no more, or the party leaders are no more accepting the free speech and free press concept. The thing is that liberalism is a part of Marxism, but it happens that when Marxism captures the administration, whoever goes against the government is somehow thought to be uh, Sreni Shotru or class enemy, and then he is marked. So this goes against the concept of free speech. So that itself is a dilemma in Marxism, or rather, the way Marxist governments had worked, or the left parties had worked. Literature must become a part of the single great social democratic mechanism, the common cause of the proletariat. So, this is how Lenin is defining literature. We do not need to know about the structure of Communist Party. We do not need to know about the political agendas of the party. Rather, our focus will be Marxism as a literary theory, and therefore we will say, or we will read what Lenin had to say regarding Marxism or the effect of Marxism on literature. And here comes his opinion that literature must become a part of the single great social democratic mechanism. That means society as a whole is considered as a social democratic mechanism. And literature is not beyond that, or literature as quote unquote aesthetic is not something which should not be related to this. যেমন what we do, like আমরা কবিদের সাহিত্যিকদের একটু আলাদা করে রাখি, but Lenin said that literature should be functional. And what function should it serve? The common cause of the proletariat. That means the writers will only write, only voice about the cause of the proletariat. They will confirm that the proletariat, that the common people, their rights are confirmed. They should write about, rather, uh, I would say, enhancing the social condition of the proletariat and to confirm equality. Okay, so look at this. The previous point, I have deliberately made these 2 points stand one after another. In previous point, you find free speech and free press. And in the next point, you find that Lenin is giving a direction to what the poets and the novel writers, the playwrights, the essayists, the dramatists should write about. That is very conflicting to me. Yes, it is true that the cause of the proletariat should always be confirmed, should always be given priority. The poor people, the common people, they should be served with equality and fraternity. And that Marxism confirms, at least at philosophical or theoretical level. But confining literature only to that is somehow, I think, not going at par with the philosophy of free speech. Lenin is aware that art cannot be subject to mechanical adjustment. And look, in the very next point, where he has said that art must be serving the common cause of proletariat, তারপরেও নিজেই বলছে that art cannot be subject to mechanical adjustment to the rule of majority over minority. But he was only speaking of party literature. So that is the thing. While Lenin was saying that literature should serve the cause of the proletariat, he was saying only about party literature. That party literature should write about the cause of the proletariat and we should confirm that their rights are served. Apart from that, Lenin said that literature or art cannot be subject to mechanical adjustment. That is, you just say it had to be like this and the author will write like this. It should not or it will not happen because aesthetic cannot be controlled. Okay. So when you place these three, then you can have a concept about Lenin's literary point of view. Free speech, free press. Party literature has to talk about the rights of the proletariat and confirm that their rights are served. And in case of other literature, obviously, Lenin is advising them to write for the proletariat, but he is also saying that it does not happen easily. That mechanically, whatever he will suggest, the authors will write about that. The freedom of the bourgeois writer is illusory and false, dependent on commercial relations and interests. That is an interesting observation by Lenin, that when a bourgeois writer writes, is he free to write his heart out? Does not he depend on his class identity? Does not he depend on his commercial relation with the society, his commercial interest with the society? So when a bourgeois writer will write, he will obviously write satisfying his class, satisfying those people who are patronizing him. And therefore, the freedom of the bourgeois writer becomes illusory because he does not voice his own voice. He voices his patron. Free literature will be openly related to the proletariat. He says that if a literature is free, if the author does not care about his class identity, does not care about who is patronizing him, then he will obviously think and speak about the proletariats, the lower, economically lower people, the poorer class, the marginal class. He will speak about it. It's natural. Calls Trotsky's doctrine socialistic. In next slide, we will go for Trotsky. Trotsky was an ally of Lenin to some extent, although later they went on head to head. But at that time, when Trotsky was an ally with Lenin, Lenin said that his doctrine was socialistic, a step forward in the artistic development of the whole mankind. That Trotsky এর পরে তোরা যখন পড়াবো তখন বুঝতে পারবি what Trotsky said about art and literature. And Lenin obviously had a good point of view about that. At a deeper level, Lenin's approach to aesthetic value, embracing the totality of historical circumstances, including class, preceding literary traditions, and relations to political exigency, can be seen to drive from his acknowledgement of the dialectical character of Marxism. So, what is the dialectical character of Marxism? We had already discussed about it, the dialectics. Uh, like the materialism that comes out of the dialectics, the clash between two different point of view. And uh, Lenin says that ultimately, whatever literature is produced, whatever art is produced, it has the relationship with history, it has relationship with class, it has relationship with the preceding literary traditions, and it has relation to the political standard of the society. So therefore, he is directly accepting the concept of dialectics. And now we will read about Leo Trotsky. Leo Trotsky was born in 1879 and he was there till 1940. That means he lived 16 years more than Lenin. Okay, so let us see to whatever he has to say. Look, we can see in the first thing that attracts us is the literary works that he has done. The first book is Lenin. So you can know that Trotsky at one point of time was an ally of Lenin, and he had done a great job, by along with Lenin to confirm the success of Russian Revolution or Russian Communist Revolution. And his first book was Lenin, then History of Russian Revolution. The revolution betrayed. Then you come to this. Lenin had died in 1924, and in 1937, Trotsky is writing The Revolution Betrayed. Then Literature and Revolution in 1923, we can easily see that these two books, Literature and Revolution and Class and Art, these two were mentioned by Lenin when he said that Trotsky's concept about art is socialistic. So the concepts are written in these two books, Literature and Revolution, Class and Art. So whatever, now let us see what are the major ideas that were given by Trotsky. The domain of art is not one in which the party is called upon to command. It can and must protect and help art. So look at this. The domain of art is not one in which the party is called upon to command. That means let art progress like art itself. The party should not command on it. It just can protect and help art, do not command. But we see often in Marxist regimes, uh, things had been done differently. Even during Lenin's time in Russia, many works were banned. In our time, we can say that a famous drama, by Brato Boshu, Winkle Twinkle. Winkle Twinkle, if you have YouTube, you all have YouTube. It is acted by Dev Shankar Haldar, Rajatabu Dotto. These are two famous names, and you can watch the stage performance in YouTube. So, Winkle Twinkle says about uh, the fall of, or rather, the last days of the communist government and the emergence of Mamata Banerjee, and it compares this with the time of Naxal movement when the Congress regime ended and the left front as a party started growing up. It compared the same situation with the fall of the leftist regime and the emergence of Trinamool Congress as one of the uh, significant political power in Bengal. And uh, the drama was written when still the left front government was enjoying its last day. And when it was first staged, the very next day it was banned. In West Bengal, it was banned. So you can see that not always this had been entertained by them. This had been entertained, not always this had been entertained by the government or by the Marxist government, rather, the openness of art. whenever you write regarding or you write following the Marxist agendas, your work is patronized. And whenever you go against it, often it has said. Even the same happened during the Congress regime, like so many of Utpal Datta's dramas, like Taloar, they were all banned. So many of Badal Sarkar's মিছিলকে বলা হতো নকশালদের হেল্প করার ড্রামা সো this happened মানে এই যে জায়গাটা the domain of art is not one in which the party is called upon to command এটা মার্কসিস্টদের অনেক বড় বড় বইতে অনেক বড় বড় করে লেখা থাকে বাট সেটা যে সবসময় হয়েছে আমি বলতে পারবো না আমি নিজে একজন লেফট ফ্রন্টের সাপোর্টার হয়েও আমি বলতে পারবো না যে এটা সবসময় পার্টি মেনে চলেছে What is needed is a watchful revolutionary censorship and broad flexible policy in the field of art. So look at this. Always this type of contradictions comes with Marxism. At first they say that party is not to called upon to command in the case of art. And then the very next proposition is the prescription of a watchful revolutionary censorship. And who will decide the extent of the censorship? Who will decide? A broad, flexible policy in the field of art. And what should be the extent of broadness? This much? Will it be considered as broad or this much? No one knows. So that is the problem. That is the problem. On the other hand, if you think that all our leaders are very honest, these are helpful policies. ঠিক আছে তুমি লেখো বাট এমন কিছু লিখো না যেটা সোসাইটিতে একটা সিভিক ডিস্টারবেন্স তৈরি করে আদারওয়াইজ তুমি লেখো আমরা আর্টের দিকে একটা ফ্লেক্সিবল পলিসি নিয়ে থাকবো বাট দ্য প্রবলেম ইজ দ্যাট when I openly teach Marxism I cannot say that this broadness has always been manifested in the practical handling of Marxist government. এটা কিন্তু হয়নি okay it is important to define limits of censorship very clearly এখানে এই কথাটা বলা হয়েছে যে it is important to define limits of censorship very clearly Trotsky's মতো philosopher like when I read Trotsky it's very important I find that Trotsky is not only a Marxist economist Trotsky is also a philosopher. And Trotsky's মতো ফিলোসফাররা কিন্তু স্পষ্ট বলছে it's important to define limits of censorship. I do not criticize Trotsky. I criticize those upon whose hand it was given the power to execute the administration, the Marxist administration. এরা কিন্তু এই জিনিসগুলো কতটা মেনেছে তাই নিয়ে সন্দেহ আছে বাট অ্যাজ আ থিওরি look at this পরপর তিনটেকে পড়ো the domain of art is not one in which the party is called upon to command what is needed is a watchful revolutionary censorship and broad flexible policy and it is important to define limits of censorship very clearly তিনটেকে এক করে দিলে কিন্তু খুব সুন্দর একটা আইডিয়ালাইজড জায়গা দাঁড়ায় that's what the problem comes with Marxism. Ideally it is really a very helpful theory but the problem is that there is a heaven and hell difference between ideal and the real. He is against the liberal principle of laissez-faire and laissez-passer, even in the field of art. So let us see what laissez-faire and laissez-passer is. একটু তোমাদের দেখালে বুঝতে পারবে But the same thing is again happening with me. Okay, are you being able to listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
Yes, sir.
laissez-faire. So what is laissez-faire? Laissez-faire is an economic system in which Transactions between private parties are absent of any form of economic interventionism, such as regulation and subsidies. That is, the policy of leaving things to their own course without interfering. Abstention by government from interfering in the working of free market. So, এখানে একটা জিনিস বারবার বলছেন যে laissez-faire. He is against the liberal principle of laissez-faire. That is, laissez-faire যেখানে মার্কেটকে নিজের মতো চলতে দেওয়া হবে, the government will not interfere into it, সেটার উনি এগেনস্ট। দ্যাট মিনস উনি বলছেন মার্কেটটাকে এমন ভাবে চালাতে হবে যাতে করে সেই মার্কেটে কিন্তু the poorer people they get the advantage from that. And also laissez-passer, দেখি laissez-passer মানে কি, দেখে দাও নিজেরা। So laissez-passer is a document allowing the holder to pass a permit. So a United Nations laissez-passer is a diplomatic travel document. That means what is laissez-passer? Your pass, your pass, like passport or that kind of thing, যেটা তোমাকে অন্য একটা কান্ট্রিতে এন্ট্রি দেবে, সেই ব্যাপারেও কিন্তু লিবারাল হতে ট্রটস্কি বারণ করছে। ঠিক আছে? Though in towards free revolutionary art, he advocates complete freedom of art. So, where is laissez-passer related to art, and where is liberal principle of laissez-faire related to art? যেখানে কিন্তু একটা জায়গা আমাদের আগের লিটারেচার গুলো মাথায় রাখতে হবে। When we had read about the previous Marxist critics, we had found that they had completely said that art is a market product. Art is created in order to sell. Art can be seen as a commodity. So there are two aspects of art. One is economic aspect, another is aesthetic aspect. Aesthetic aspect নিয়ে মার্কসিস্ট ক্রিটিকরা সবসময় বলছে যে অ্যাডভাইস করছে that art, literature, they should conform to the cause of the proletariat. On the other hand, they cannot deny that art is a commodity, or rather the creation of art or creation of artifacts are commodities. So এই দুটোকে যখন এক করি তখন কিন্তু we come to these concepts like laissez-faire and laissez-passer. Laissez-faire means open market economy. So when a government controls market economy, then the government also controls over art as a commodity. On the other hand, when the government controls the pass of entry, an artist is not free to go to any place to work freely. As if someone wants to come to Russia in order to do his work peacefully, the government may intervene what this person will create, and will this go with the policy of the government. If it does not, the government will restrict his entry. So that's where laissez-faire and laissez-passer comes with freedom of art. So it is also very contradictory that pre-revolutionary art, he advocates complete freedom of art. On the other hand, he is against liberal principles of laissez-faire and laissez-passer. Party should give its confidence to what he calls literary fellow travelers sympathetic to revolution. So, look, this is really related to laissez-passer. Party should give its confidence to what he calls literary fellow travelers sympathetic to revolution. That means from anywhere of the world, if someone wants to come to Russia who is sympathetic towards revolution, the party should give its confidence to him. That is, party should confide upon him and let him come in. The party would support him and his work. The proletariat cannot begin their construction of a new culture without taking help of the creative bourgeois intelligentsia, which gravitate towards the proletariat. So, this is a very interesting concept. This thing is very interesting. The proletariat cannot begin their construction of a new culture. So he's clearly saying that uh, these proletariats are poor, they're undereducated. Some of them have credibility, but not a large number of them. Some of them are really intelligent, but not a large number of them, so that they can make their voice give the impact. So that's why they will need the help of the bourgeois intelligentsia, because the bourgeois intelligentsia are economically strong, they are blessed by their class, and they have mass support. They have public reaching, they have education, they are artful, and that's why these bourgeois intelligentsia, which not all of them, but those which are sympathetic towards the cause of the poor, towards the cause of the proletariats, these proletariats should need their help in order to voice out their right, or rather, these intellects, like এখন যেমন আমরা বুদ্ধিজীবীদের কথা বলি, যে where are the intellectuals, the intellectuals their help না পেলে, mostly the intellectuals are not poor, you can understand, because when art becomes a commodity, the artist remains no longer poor. So if rather এখানে একটা জিনিস মানতে হবে, if you conform to the need of the crowd, যদি সেই need maintain করে you can create art, you can attract them, you are no longer a poor artist, so therefore or a poor author. And এই যে মিডল ক্লাস লোকগুলো, এই যে আপার মিডল ক্লাস লোকগুলো, and mainly you can understand কারা লিখবে, কারা ছবি আঁকবে, এরকম গরিব ফ্যামিলি থেকে এই জায়গাগুলো যাওয়া যায় না, মানে একটা লোক কলকারখানায় বসে সারাদিন কাজ করার পর চারটি কবিতা লিখবে, আই ক্যান নট জাস্ট টেক ইট অ্যাজ নর্মাল হ্যাপেনিং। হতে পারে 50 জনের মধ্যে নয়, 1000 জনের মধ্যে একজন লিখতে পারে, তার সেই ব্যাপারটা আছে, বাট ইউ ক্যান নট এক্সপেক্ট দিস হ্যাপেন টু দ্য লার্জার সেকশন অফ সোসাইটি। সো দেয়ারফোর কাদের বলতে হবে এই গরিব কথা? যারা বলে তারা কিন্তু কেউ গরিব নয়, যে কবি, যে সিনেমা আর্টিস্ট, যে নাট্যকার, যারা বলছে এগুলো, দোজ হু আর টেলিং অ্যাবাউট দ্য পোর, তারা কিন্তু কেউ গরিব লোক ছিলেন না, আর তারা কেউ গরিব লোক নয়। হ্যাঁ, আছে, অনেক গরিব লোক আছে এদের মধ্যে যারা প্র্যাকটিক্যালি সেই জায়গায় পৌঁছতেই পারে। তো দ্যাট ইজ দ্য ডিফারেন্স বিটুইন ঋত্বিক ঘটক অ্যান্ড সত্যজিৎ রায় অ্যান্ড মৃণাল সেন। So you can see Mrinal Sen is saying about he is from a bourgeois family. On the other hand, Ritwik Ghatak is purely a poor. So ঋত্বিক ঘটককে দু চারটি সিনেমা করার পর বন্ধ করে দিতে হয়, whereas মৃণাল সেনকে কিন্তু উনি নিজের কাজটাকে এগিয়ে নিয়ে গেছেন অনেক। সত্যজিৎ রায়, তো লোক যারা প্রলেতারিয়াতদের কথা বলেছে, যারা প্রলেতারিয়াতদের কথা বলেছে, রবীন্দ্রনাথ বলছে গরিব মানুষের কথা, হ্যাঁ, তো সুনীল গঙ্গোপাধ্যায় বলছে, শক্তি চট্টোপাধ্যায় বলছে, বিষ্ণু দে বলছে, অ্যালেন গিন্সবার্গ বলছে। So do you consider them to be poor people? No, never. So that is the thing, মানে poor people, এরা আর্ট ক্রিয়েট করতে পারবে না, এরা নিজেদের কালচার বলে কিছু তৈরি করতে পারবে না, বাট প্রলেতারিয়েতদের জিনিসটাকে সামনে আনতে গেলে যে কালচারাল রেজিস্ট্যান্সটা দরকার, যে কালচারাল আই উড সে ম্যানিফেস্টেশনটা দরকার, সেটা তৈরি করে দিতে কিন্তু দে হ্যাভ টু টেক দ্য হেল্প অফ দ্য বুর্জোইস ইন্টেলিজেন্সিয়া, those who belong to the upper class and upper middle class but are sympathetic towards these people. Okay, the proletariat acquire power for the purpose of doing away forever with the class culture and to make way for human culture. That is a very important thing that he says, that when the proletariats will acquire power, they will forever do away with class culture. That is, there will be no class in the society, no rich, no poor, when the proletariat takes the uh, control over it. And the culture he calls is human culture, that everyone is equal, everyone is human being, everyone will be treated equal. Art has its own laws of development, and there is not guarantee of an organic link between artistic creativity and class interest. So that is a very important thing, যেটা লেনিনও আগে বলছে that art cannot be controlled. আমি বললাম ক্লাস কনসাসনেস এর উপর ক্লাস ইন্টারেস্টের উপর লিখতে হবে, but not always it will happen that ক্লাস ইন্টারেস্টের ওপরেই কোনো একজন আর্টিস্ট লিখবে, তার ক্রিয়েটিভিটি ডিপেন্ড করবে। এমনও হতে পারে সে রিলিজিয়াস এর কোনো একটা ক্যারেক্টার কে মারাত্মকভাবে সুন্দর করে পেন্টিং করবে, ইউ ক্যান নট সে দিস ইজ নট ক্রিয়েটিভ। ইউ ক্যান নট সে দিস ইজ নট ক্রিয়েটিভ। আমি এটাও আঁকতে পারি যে একজন চাষি, সে যাচ্ছে ইয়ে নিয়ে, মানে লাইক জাস্ট 1 মিনিট, I can give you an example. লাইক আর্ট কিরকম দুরকম হতে পারে, জাস্ট I will give you an example. 1 minute, wait for a minute. দুটোই দুটোই না আমার আমার আঁকা ছবি। ভাবিস না যে স্যার খালি নিজের প্রচার করছে, okay? তাহলে আমি একটু কষ্ট পাবো। 2 মিনিট ওয়েট করো, আমি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে পাঠাচ্ছি, তাহলে এখানে আমি স্ক্রিনে দেখতে পাবো হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ করে। উম, দেখবি হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে দুটো ছবি গেছে, সেটা আমি অবভিয়াসলি এখানে স্ক্রিনে এনে নেবো। 1 মিনিট, আমার 1 মিনিট টাইম লাগবে। দাঁড়া, আর একটা ছবি পাঠাই। তিনটে ছবি গেছে হোয়াটসঅ্যাপে, আমি ওই তিনটেকে একটু ডিসপ্লেতে নেবো। দাঁড়াও। 2 মিনিট। এটা দেখতে পাচ্ছিস তো স্ক্রিনটা এই হোয়াটসঅ্যাপের?
Yes, sir.
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
1 মিনিট দাঁড়া, তাহলেই বুঝতে পারবি যে পার্থক্যটা কোথায় আছে। এই যে পেন্টিং গুলোর পার্থক্য একটু দেখলে বুঝতে পারবে। 2 মিনিট, এ তো আবার, ও বাবা, হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ ওয়েব গুগল মিট থাকলে চলে না, নাকি? না, তো চলছে। চলো, এটা আবার নেটওয়ার্কের কি হলো? ধুর, আবার ব্লক হয়ে গেছে, বুঝলি, হ্যাং করে গেছে। ওকে, এটা আসুক। তোরা আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছিস তো?
Yes, sir.
এটা দেখতে পাচ্ছিস? এইটা এইটা যেটা আমি যেটা পড়ছিলাম, এটা দেখা যাচ্ছে?
No, sir.
গ্রামসি দেখা
No,
যাচ্ছে?
sir.
দেখা যাচ্ছে না?
No, sir.
প্রেজেন্ট স্ক্রিনটা আর আছে না।
পুরো ফোনটা খোলা আছে actually.
ওকে, দাঁড়া 1 মিনিট, আবার হ্যাং করে গেল। এইটাই আমার খুব প্রবলেম হচ্ছে ল্যাপটপে, এটা হ্যাং করে যাচ্ছে বারবার। রিফ্রেশ পর্যন্ত করতে দিচ্ছে না, জাস্ট ওয়েট আ মিনিট। ওহ, জাস্ট ওয়েট ফর আ মিনিট। হ্যাঁ, ওকে। তো আবার হ্যাং করছে, মানে জাস্ট আই এম জাস্ট ব্রেকিং ডাউন টু দ্য পয়েন্ট অফ, ওকে। Are you being able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
So now look at this picture. Will you not tell it art? এটাকে কি তোর আর্ট বলবি না? Look at this. But this has mythological things. This has Krishna and Radha in it. So this is also art. And look at this. This has a woman who is walking with a caste. So this woman is obviously a representation of the proletariat and the powerfulness of a proletariat woman, a working class woman, isn't it? তাই তো? Are you there? তোরা আছিস? শুনতে পাচ্ছিস?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
So look at this. So will you tell যে যেটা ট্রটস্কি বলতে চাইছে, যে এই যে ট্রটস্কির লাস্ট কথাটা যেটা, art has its own laws of development and there is no guarantee of an organic link between artistic creativity and class interest. তুই আমাকে বলতে পারবি এই আঁকাটার মধ্যে কোনো ক্লাস ইন্টারেস্ট আছে? বা এই পেন্টিংটার মধ্যে, এই পেন্টিংটার মধ্যে কিন্তু কোনো ক্লাস ইন্টারেস্ট নেই, এটা পুরোটাই অ্যাস্থেটিক্যালি আঁকা, অ্যান্ড এইটাই কিন্তু ক্লাস ইন্টারেস্ট রয়েছে। It is practically voicing out the powerfulness or the need of the proletariat woman to be powerful, to be self-reliant. কাস্তেটাকে খালি ফসল কাটার জন্য ব্যবহার করলেই হবে না, it can be used as a weapon. তো এই জায়গাটা, it has class interest in it and it doesn't have এগুলোর মধ্যে কিন্তু ক্লাস ইন্টারেস্ট নেই। হ্যাঁ আছে, ইউ ক্যান সে যে এই ছবিটা মারাত্মকভাবে বুর্জোইসি একটা ছবি। Let us teach you how to interpret a painting. This picture is essentially a bourgeois picture. This mobile tower crossing across, okay, and these two things, ঘুড়ি, ঘুড়ি তোমরা বলবি ঘুড়ি তো গরিব ছেলেরা ওড়ায়, বাট আই উড সে তোরা যদি কবির সুমনের ওই গানটাকেও শুনে থাকিস, পেট কাটি চাঁদিয়াল মোমবাতি বগ্গা, যদি কেউ শুনে থাকিস তো শুনলে খুব ভালো হয়, আমি বলবো শুনে ফেলো। হ্যাঁ, পেট কাটি চাঁদিয়াল মোমবাতি বগ্গা শুনলে বুঝতে পারবে যে ঘুড়িও কি করে ক্লাসের একটা রিপ্রেজেন্টেশন হয়ে যায়। হ্যাঁ, ঘুড়িও কি করে আপার ক্লাসের একটা রিপ্রেজেন্টেশন হয়ে যায়, সেটা আমরা বোধহয় মানে এই 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 পেটকাঠি চাঁদিয়ালটা শুনলে সব থেকে ভালো শুনতে পারি, বুঝতে পারি। ওকে, লাইক একটুখানি শোনো, কারণ না হলে মার্কসিজম বুঝবে না।